Here is my true life story. My husband does not eat food cooked with gas except firewood and fresh food. The night it almost killed me, rain was beating our zinc roof like drumsticks, and smoke from the backyard kitchen was crawling into my throat like a stubborn snake. I was kneeling beside a black pot on 3 stones, feeding firewood with palm fronds. The fire hissed, then coughed. My eyes were red. My chest was heavy. I could taste charcoal. Add more wood. Connor shouted from the corridor, his voice cutting through the rain. And don't put that pot back on gas. You want me to die? He snatched the pot from my hand a moment earlier and flung it into the sand because I had dared to warm the stew on our clean silver gas cooker. Pepper soup, rich, smelling of scent leaf, now mixed with sand and rain. My heart broke as the food spilled like blood. He stood over me in his neat white singlet, water shining on his brown skin, chest rising and falling like a cock ready to fight. I was shivering, not because of cold, but because of shame. Our neighbor's torchlight flashed over the fence. Someone whispered, "Oh, they have started again." Connor pushed the pot at me. "Cook it again. With firewood. Fresh. I told you, gas is cancer. My father died because of white man's kitchen. You want to follow his path?" I looked at the ashes, at the wet wood, at the empty pot. I looked at my trembling hands. And I thought, if I fall here, in this smoke, who will even know I couldn't breathe? "Busy," he barked. "Did you hear me?" I heard him. I also heard my own breath, short and hot inside my chest, like a small engine trying to die. I reached for the matches with wet fingers, struck, and the first spark answered. The smoke rose again, and my tears joined the rain. That is how my story opens. With smoke in my eyes. With shame in my mouth. With my heart begging for air while the man I married turned love into a rule book that only he could read. My name is Abisola, but everybody calls me Busy. I am 35 years old. I am from Osun State, born between the red sands and the narrow streets of Ilisa, raised on market noise and Sunday rice. I wear my hair in tight coils most days, and I love blue wrapper with tiny yellow flowers. I cook clean. I sweep till the floor shines. I don't like shouting. I talk small and laugh soft. But I used to love loud, loud enough to forgive anything. Connor is 38. He is Yoruba like me, tall, with kind eyes. That first week I met him in Osogbo. He sells building materials and knows everybody at the motor park. His voice can fill a whole room. When he is happy, he sings Sunny Ode songs with his whole chest. When he is angry, the world must learn a new lesson. I married him 7 years ago, carried our marriage on my head like a tray, and I told myself I would not drop it, no matter the sun. But marriage started to feel like carrying hot coal with bare palms. It began like a small joke. "I don't eat gas food," he told me one evening when we were still new, when I was still learning the angles of his smile. "Use firewood. It is pure. The food tastes like home. Gas changes the spirit of the food." I laughed. "Oh, Connor, let me warm it on gas small. We will not die." "Don't joke with death," he answered, soft, the way sugar hides in pap. My chest is sensitive. "Don't you love me?" "Of course," I said. So I did it his way. When visitors came, I smiled and said, "We like the taste of smoke." But soon it was not about taste. It became law. If I used gas, I was a bad wife. If I used firewood and the wind blew smoke, I was a weak wife. If I coughed, I was dramatic. If I cried, I was ungrateful. My best friend Sandra, an Igbo woman I met at the tailoring shop in Okefaied, used to shake her head when I talked. Sandra is the type of friend who will hold your chin and look straight into your eyes like your elder sister. Her skin is the color of ripe palm fruit. She wears short wigs and long lashes and bright lipstick like the Lagos sun. She has a laugh that can make a market woman forget change. She cooks with gas and electric cooker. She owns a small food delivery business and she knows how to price her time. Babe, she told me one afternoon in her kitchen, her voice calm but heavy, this is manipulation. He is not afraid of cancer. He is afraid of your peace. He wants to keep you tired and small. Don't say that, I said, folding my wrapper tighter. He lost his father to chest sickness. He is careful. Sandra looked at me long. Are you careful with yourself? I swallowed. I pressed a smile on my face like a child pressing a sticker on a broken book. I'm fine, I said. He is my husband. People will talk if I complain. They will say I am lazy. Imagine a wife that cannot even cook with firewood. Sandra exhaled. People will talk if you die too. I laughed to cut the seriousness. Oh, I will not die. Don't worry. But the truth is, many nights I slept with smoke in my chest and a small prayer under my tongue. Please, God, let me wake up. Please, God, don't let marriage be my grave. If the cooking rule was the only problem, maybe we would have found peace. But rules grew like weeds. Connor started to call everything dangerous when it came from my side. Gas was dangerous. My friends were dangerous. My makeup was dangerous. My dreams were dangerous. He would say, that hair cream will give you headache, stop it. Your friend Sandra, she is too loud, she will spoil you. Don't wear that fitted dress, it invites eyes. Don't answer back, it causes bad spirit. He said all these things like a man who loved me too much to let me make mistakes. And when I cried, he would pat my shoulder and say, you see, you are too soft. That is why I must guide you. Guide me, that is the phrase he used when he moved my phone away from me at night because, according to him, the light would disturb my brain. Guide me, when he stopped me from finishing my catering course because the instructor was a man. Guide me, when he picked my clothes, measured my smiles, counted my words. Guide me, when love started sounding like a soft jail. The day I truly saw the shape of my jail was the day I carried jollof rice to Connor's shop as a surprise. I tied my girly very small that day, wore gold earrings, and used lip gloss that smelled like oranges. The jollof was hot and smoky, not from gas, from real wood. I wanted him to be proud. I wanted to be that wife whose food brings her husband home early. I reached the shop and paused. Through the glass, I saw her, the girl with the sharp red nails and a waist like the middle of a drum. She wore a green bodycon dress that hugged her like it wrote her name. Her wig was bone straight, her smile bright. She sat on Connor's chair, crossed her legs, and ate fried fish with small bites. Connor stood close, too close, peeling plantain, blowing on it, and feeding her. He wiped her chin with his own handkerchief. Babe, open your mouth, he said, voice soft like he used to speak to me. She opened. He fed. She giggled. Then he leaned and kissed her cheek. Not the cheek. The mouth. My hands shook. The food shook with me. The cover of the cooler rattled like a drum inside my head. I wanted to faint, but I swallowed pride like dry Gary. I walked in. Connor's eyes snapped from her face to me as if I was the mistake in an exam. He stepped back quickly and smiled, big, too big. Oh, my wife, he said, stretching his arms like I came from London with visa stamped on my forehead. What a surprise. The girl looked me up and down with slow eyes. So, this is the village wife, she said, lips curling. She popped a piece of fish into her mouth and sucked her finger. Nice to meet you. My heart went cold, then hot. Good afternoon, I said, voice small. I put the food on the table and turned to Connor. Eat before it gets cold. The girl laughed. He doesn't eat cold food, she said. And not white man gas food. He told me. Connor laughed too, like it was a comedy. Oh, Amora, he said to her, "Don't mind my wife. She knows my ways." He touched her elbow like it was his. Then he turned to me and the smile fell. "Busy, you can go. I will bring the cooler home." My mouth opened. Nothing came out. I carried my bag and walked out, slow, because if I moved fast I would break. When I reached the junction, my legs stopped obeying me. I stood there under the sun, the jollof smell on my hands, my chest heavy. Sandra's voice rang in my head, "He is not careful. He is cruel." That night, when Connor came home late, he smelled of her perfume, sweet and deadly like a flower that eats bees. He saw the way I looked at him and smiled in that way that makes you doubt your own eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked, pressing my shoulder. "You are overthinking again. That girl is a customer. She wanted to buy cement at wholesale price. You women and your stories." "But you kissed her," I said, soft, like I was telling a secret to a wall. He laughed, loud and long. "Me? Kiss? Busy, I know you love Nollywood, but this house is not a movie. Don't let Sandra fill your head. And next time, don't bring food to my shop without telling me. It looks desperate." Desperate. The word slapped me. I carried his words into my chest like stones and went to the backyard to wash plates. I scrubbed until the sound of the metal hurt my ears. I told myself the same lie I had told for years: if I behave better, he will love me better. The rules tightened. The smoke thickened. The distance between who I was and who I became grew like Hamilton cracks in an old wall. But I kept moving, one step after another, like a woman balancing water on her head in a crowded market. Don't fall. Don't cry. Don't speak. I cooked with firewood in August rain. I cooked with firewood when my period cramps bent me like a letter S. I cooked with firewood when the doctor said I should avoid smoke because my lungs were irritated. Doctors talk too much, Connor said, waving the paper away. They are trained to sell drugs. When I told Sandra, she stared at me as if I was a glass cup about to slip from the table. "Babe," she said, holding my wrist, "if you keep choosing him over yourself, there will be nothing left to choose." "Don't talk like that," I said, pulling back. "He is my husband." She sighed. "Then at least tell me the truth. Is he hitting you?" I shook my head. "No. He is not that kind." She nodded slowly. "Okay. But words can hit too." I looked away. My wish was small and foolish. I wanted him to see me the way he saw her. I wanted him to see my small efforts as a big love. I wanted him to say, "Busy, you made my life easy." I wanted his hand to be gentle again, not only when he wanted something. Instead, he woke me on a Saturday by snapping his fingers. "Stand up," he said. "Clean the sitting room. My friend is coming with his babe. Make fresh peppered goat meat on firewood. They will taste it and know we are not dirty like city people." I looked at the time. 5:02 a.m. The moon had not even yawned. My bones pained me like small nails. "Connor, can I?" "Don't start," he said, cold. "Don't become Sandra. I married a wife, not a question mark." I stood. I tied my wrapper. I cleaned until the tiles shone like water. I carried firewood. I blew and coughed and wiped tears and cooked. At noon, when his friend came, the house glowed. The goat meat sang the song of pepper and smoke. They ate and praised him. "Your wife is well trained," the friend said. His babe, a girl with lashes like butterfly wings, licked her fingers and laughed. "This tastes like village," she said. "In a good way." Connor smiled like he carved me himself. "You know me now. I don't do gas nonsense." When they left, he pressed money in my palm, 2,000 naira, and said, "For recharge card." I held the notes. They were damp with sweat. Thank you, I whispered, because that is what good wives say. He nodded and went to sleep, leaving plates that still smelled of pepper on the table. Later that evening, my phone buzzed. It was Sandra. Pick, her text said. I went outside to the corridor and called. Babe, she said without greeting, voice low and tight, where are you? At home, I said. Why? Open WhatsApp. I just sent you something. My stomach turned. I opened the app. The video was downloading slowly, the blue circle crawling like a snail. My thumb shook. The video opened. I saw Connor. I saw the girl from his shop. They were in a lounge I recognized in Ogoluwa, the one with purple lights and fake flowers on the wall. Music was playing low. He sat in a dark corner, his arm over her shoulder. Her head was on his chest like a child on a pillow. He was laughing quietly. Then he lifted a spoon from a plate of ice cream and fed her. She opened her mouth, slow, like a person tasting heaven. He leaned in and kissed her, slow, like a person who owned time. The person recording whispered, "See Connor O. He said he doesn't like city food. See him licking spoon." The video shook as the recorder laughed. My heart started to pound in my ears. It wasn't jealousy alone. It was humiliation. It was that feeling when someone steps on your name with a muddy shoe. I saved the video and walked back into the sitting room. Connor was adjusting the TV volume with the remote like nothing could ever touch him. I stood there, watching him, the words gathering in my throat like soldiers. "Connor," I said. He didn't look up. "I want to show you something." He sighed, heavy, as if I had already wasted his time. "What again, busy? Is it the gas matter?" "I have told you." "It's a video," I said. My voice surprised me. It was steady. "From tonight." He looked at me then, eyes narrowing. "From who?" "From Sandra," I said. "And from God." He laughed once, a short sound like a door hinge. "Bring it," he said. I played the video and held the phone where he could see. His face was a stone. His jaw worked once, then locked. When the kiss came, he looked away, then looked back. He sniffed, scoffed, and leaned back. "So," he said. "So," I repeated, my voice breaking, then holding again. "So, why?" He smiled without joy. "Busy, you think you are the first woman to see her husband on a date. You women like drama. You keep house, you keep order, you keep your mouth small. That is your work. Don't bring street into my parlor." My mouth opened. "But you said gas food is poison," I said, my voice rising. "You said you only eat fresh food, firewood food. In this video you are eating." He raised his hand, but not to hit me, to cut my sentence. "Don't finish that statement. You are getting rude." "I am not rude," I whispered, and suddenly the tears were hot behind my eyes. "I am tired." He stood. The room changed shape. His eyes hardened. "Tired? You are tired." "Busy, I built this house. I pay the bills. I gave you my name. I allow you to visit your noisy friends sometimes. And you are tired. If you were a good wife, you would thank me and keep your head down." Something stood up inside me then, something small that had been crouching for years. A voice. A spine. A spark. I didn't shout. I didn't plead. I just said, "Connor, I am not a child. I am your wife." His lips twisted. "You are behaving like a market woman. I hate it." He walked to the bedroom, pulled out my small box, and dumped it on the floor. He opened my wardrobe and began to throw out my clothes, blouses, wrappers, my Sunday lace, as if he was emptying a gutter. My bra landed on the chair like a white flag. "Connor," I cried, pressing my hands to my chest. Stop. He didn't stop. He dragged my handbag, took my small savings envelope, and slapped it into my palm like change. If you don't like it, he said, go. Go to Sandra. Go and cook with gas till your lungs roast. When you are done misbehaving, you know the road back. I stared at the door that led to the corridor. The rain had returned, stubborn and loud. The smoke smell from the afternoon still lived in the curtains. My heart was beating like a drum behind my ribs. He pointed at the door. His face was calm now, a teacher satisfied with punishment. Carry your things and go. I bent and lifted my box. My hands were shaking, but I could lift it. I could lift myself. I started toward the door, my feet moving like they had waited for this road all my life. Behind me, Connor laughed softly. You will come back, he said. You always do. I reached for the doorknob. Before my fingers touched the metal, my phone buzzed again. A new message. I glanced down. It was not Sandra. It was an unknown number. A single line of text blinked up at me, meet me outside. I saw everything. You don't have to go alone. My breath stopped. I turned slowly, fear and hope wrestling inside me. Through the rainy glass of the window, a headlight flashed once, then twice, as if someone was saying my name without speaking. I swallowed, held my box tighter, and took the first step into the storm. When I stepped out of the gate that night with my box in one hand and my phone buzzing in the other, the rain was already soaking my wrapper. My sandals slapped mud. My chest was rising like I had run from a thief. The light outside blinked again, and I saw the car clearly now. A black Toyota Corolla. The window rolled down, and a man's face appeared under the glow of the dashboard. Busy. His voice was soft, unsure, but firm enough to cut through the rain. It's me. Don't be afraid. I froze. My first thought was, who told him my name? My second thought was, is this how kidnapping stories begin? My heart started drumming again. But then, as the light shifted, I recognized him. He was the man who sometimes bought akara near Sandra's shop, the one Sandra had once teased me about, saying, see the way that man looks at you when you pass. I had brushed it off. He never said more than good morning or oh please, to akara and bread. But here he was, calling me by name, asking me not to be afraid. I hugged my box closer. How do you know me? I shouted over the rain. I know Sandra, he said. She told me to look out for you tonight. She was worried. Please, let me drop you somewhere safe. You can't stand here like this. My knees shook with confusion. Sandra again. Always Sandra. I bit my lip, then looked back at the house. Through the thin curtain, I could see Connor's silhouette moving around, probably arranging the chair he had thrown at me with his words. My throat tightened. If I went back now, I knew what would happen. Tomorrow, he would say sorry in a loud, careless way. He would buy suya, press it into my palm like a bribe, and I would eat in silence, telling myself love is stronger than smoke. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt final. I pulled my box through the mud and walked toward the car. The man got out quickly, opened the boot, and took the box from me. His shirt clung to his chest in the rain, and his arms looked strong but not threatening. He placed the box gently, like it was fragile glass. Get in, he said, holding the door. His voice carried warmth. Please. I slid into the seat, water dripping from my hair. He closed the door and ran to his side. When he started the engine, warmth from the AC hit me. My chest loosened a little, but my mind was still racing. Who was this man? Why now? And why me? My name is Tom, he said, glancing at me but keeping his eyes mostly on the road. Sandra called me. She said you might need help. She said you may be leaving tonight. I turned my face to the wet glass, my tears mixing with the rain outside. My voice came out small. I didn't tell her I was leaving. She said she saw it coming. Ton replied softly. Sometimes our friends know before we do. I closed my eyes. The smell of rain and old car seats filled my nose. My heart was still beating too fast. I whispered, almost to myself, he threw me out. He said I should go. Tom's hands tightened briefly on the wheel. Then don't look back. We drove in silence for a while, the wipers beating steady. My mind replayed Connor's voice, you will come back. You always do. I pressed my lips tight. For the first time in 7 years, I was not sure he was right. Let them talk, Sandra snapped, her eyes sharp. Were they there when smoke nearly choked you? Were they there when you coughed blood last month? Were they there when he fed another woman in front of you? Let them talk. You are alive. That is what matters. Her words stung, but in a way that woke me. I chewed slowly, tasting salt more than pepper. Tears fell onto the bread. He will expect me to crawl back. Sandra leaned forward, holding my gaze. Then don't. For once, busy, don't. Her words settled heavy in my chest. Don't. The simplest word. The hardest action. Meanwhile, Connor sat in our sitting room, his legs wide apart, a bottle of Gouda in his hand. His chest was rising and falling with impatience. He glanced at the clock. 8 a.m. He expected me to knock, crying, begging. He even rehearsed what he would say, so you know your mistake now. He would let me in after 3 days of suffering, just to show me that leaving him was like leaving air, you cannot survive without it. But by afternoon, there was no knock. By evening, there was silence. The food he thought would appear on the table was not there. The smell of Dettol and clean floor was gone. The curtain stayed crooked. The plates from yesterday stared at him. His stomach growled. He scoffed, muttered, she's stubborn. She will come. But something uneasy began to grow inside him, something he was too proud to name. Fear. 2 weeks passed. I did not return. Connor's world began to collapse in small humiliations. The side chick, Amora, who once smiled with red nails and soft laughter, started frowning at his calls. She no longer cooked pepper soup for him in her small apartment. When he begged, she laughed. Connor, are you a baby? Go home to your wife. I don't have time for dirty plates. He offered her money. She took it, but she did not cook, did not clean, did not even pick his calls sometimes. And then, the night came when he walked into the apartment he rented for her with his own money and found another man, young, fine, with fresh haircut and white sneakers, sitting on his sofa, holding Amora's waist. They laughed when he shouted. Amora stood, hands on her hips, her eyes cold. Leave, she said. This is the man I'm marrying. You. You're old news. Go back to your wife, if she will still take you. The door slammed in his face. His heart broke into pieces too sharp to pick. Back in Sandra's house, life was slow but peaceful. I swept her small compound every morning. I cooked sometimes, on gas. My lungs felt lighter. My body started to remember rest. Still, every night before I slept, my chest ached with missing. I miss Connor, even in his cruelty. I miss the good days, the early laughter, the promises, the songs he sang. Love is a stubborn weed, it does not die because you cut it once. And then Ton began to visit. He came with groceries, saying, Sandra said you like golden penny spaghetti. He came with new cooking pots, saying, firewood spoils the old ones, right? He came with silence too, sitting outside while I swept, helping without asking. He never pushed. He never judged. He never told me what to do. He just stayed. One evening, when the sun had turned red behind the mango trees, we sat outside on the steps. Sandra had gone to deliver food. The street was quiet, children chasing each other in the distance. I hugged my niece. Tom sat beside me, his hands resting loosely on his lap. "You don't talk much," I said, surprising myself. He smiled a little. "I only talk when it is needed." "And when is it needed?" He turned his face toward me. His eyes held something steady, something kind. "When someone forgets they deserve better." My breath caught. I looked away quickly, staring at the sky where the first star was waking. My chest felt warm and heavy at the same time. I whispered, more to myself than him, "I'm still in love with him." Ton was quiet for a long time. Then he said softly, "I know. But love should not choke." Silence settled between us again, but it was not empty. It was full, like a quiet song we both heard but did not sing. That night, as I lay on Sandra's bed, I closed my eyes and saw two pictures. 1. Connor throwing my clothes into the rain. 2. Tom's eyes reflecting the first star. My heart beat confused, torn between memory and hope. But I did not know that soon, the past and the future would collide in one shocking moment that would change everything. Because Connor had started looking for me. The first time Connor came looking for me, it wasn't out of love, it was out of hunger. 3 weeks had passed since that rainy night. 3 weeks of silence between us. 3 weeks of him convincing himself that I would return, crawling back as usual. But when the days stretched and the food in the pots vanished, when the smell of dust replaced the clean scent of Dettol in the house, Connor's pride began to bend like dry yam in water. He sat alone in our sitting room, the fan squeaking above him, his shirt hanging open. The TV remote lay useless in his lap. He stared at the walls that were now stained with fingerprints and flies. His side chick Amora had cut him off completely, moving on with her young lover. Connor hadn't expected that betrayal. He thought money was glue, but it turned out to be sand. And in that silence, his stomach growled again. He remembered my food, the smoky taste of ifo riro, the soft swallow, the way I always sliced onions thin so they melted into the stew. He clenched his jaw and spat on the floor. "Nonsense woman," he muttered. "She thinks she can disgrace me." But the hunger didn't listen to his words. Hunger whispered louder, "Find her." Meanwhile, I was sitting on Sandra's veranda, peeling oranges with a small knife. The sun was dipping low, painting Osogbo gold. Sandra was inside, speaking loudly on the phone with one of her customers. I was alone until I heard footsteps on the street. I looked up. My heart froze. Connor. He stood at the gate, his brown skin dull, his once proud shoulders slashed. He looked thinner, older. His eyes, once so sharp, were restless, searching. When he saw me, something flickered in his face, relief mixed with arrogance. He pushed the gate open like he owned the place and walked toward me. "Busy," he said, his voice soft but edged with command. "Get up. Let's go home." I stayed seated, my orange half peeled in my hand. "Home," I repeated, my voice flat. "Which home?" He frowned. "Stop this drama. I know you are angry. You've proved your point. Come back." I shook my head slowly. "You threw me out, Connor." He stepped closer. I was angry. "You know me. Don't stretch it. People are already talking. Do you want them to say you couldn't keep your marriage?" My chest tightened. Those words, that trick. People. Marriage. Reputation. He always used them like chains. I gripped the orange tighter, juice dripping onto my fingers. "You didn't care what people said when you kissed another woman in your shop," I whispered. His face hardened. "Don't start that again. That girl," he waved his hand, dismissive, "she's nothing." Just noise. You are my wife. You know your place. My place. My voice cracked, then steadied. My place is not in smoke, Connor. My place is not on the street with my clothes in the rain. For the first time in years, I saw him falter. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His hands twitched at his sides. Busy, don't disgrace me. Let's go. I rose slowly to my feet. My heart was pounding, but my spine was straight. No. The word fell heavy between us. One syllable, but it broke something in the air. His eyes widened, as if he had never heard me refuse in all 7 years. What did you say? I said no. Just then, another voice entered. Calm, deep, steady. She said no. We both turned. Tom stood at the far end of the compound, a bag of groceries in one hand, his shirt clinging to his chest with sweat. His eyes were on Connor, not moving, not blinking. He dropped the bag gently on the step and walked closer. Connor's face twisted. Who is this? He demanded. Sandra rushed out at that moment, her phone still in her hand. She froze when she saw Connor, then moved quickly to my side. Busy, are you okay? She asked, her voice sharp. I nodded, though my legs trembled. I'm fine. Connor's eyes darted between me, Sandra, and turned. His lips curled into a bitter smile. So this is it. You left me for another man. A stranger feeding on my sweat. Tom stepped closer, his voice calm but iron. No. She left you because you broke her. I am only here to make sure she is safe. Connor's laugh was hollow. Safe? With you? Do you know who I am in Osogbo? Do you know how many people respect me? She is my wife. Nobody can take her. My heart thudded. For a moment, fear rose in me like floodwater. But then, Tom's hand brushed mine, just lightly, steadying me. He didn't look at me, he kept his eyes on Connor. That small touch was like a shield. You lost the right to call her wife when you treated her like property, Tom said firmly. Respect is not fear. And fear is not love. The silence that followed was sharp as a knife. The street dogs barked. A child's laughter floated from far away. My chest felt both heavy and light at once. Connor's face darkened. His pride, his ego, his power, they were all cracking. He pointed at me, his finger trembling. Busy, you will regret this. I lifted my chin. My voice shook, but it came out clear. I already regret the 7 years I stayed. He stared at me as if I had slapped him. Then, without another word, he turned, pushed the gate open, and stormed into the street. His footsteps faded, but the echo stayed in my chest. That night, after Sandra had locked the doors and gone to bed, I sat outside with Tom. The sky was full of stars, scattered like secrets. I hugged myself, shivering, though the air was warm. He won't give up, I whispered. Tom leaned back on the step, his gaze on the sky. Maybe not. But you don't have to give in. You are not alone. I turned to look at him. His profile glowed under the moonlight, calm, steady, sure. Something stirred in me, something I had buried deep. For years, I had lived in fear, in smoke, in silence. Now, sitting beside this man, the air felt different. It felt light. It felt like choice. Without thinking, I let my head rest on his shoulder. My body trembled, waiting for shame. But instead, warmth spread through me. He didn't move, didn't flinch. He just let me rest. And when I looked up, his eyes met mine. Slowly, carefully, his hand brushed my cheek, and before I could stop myself, our lips met, soft, brief, under the stars. For the first time in 7 years, I tasted something that wasn't smoke. But as my heart raced, I knew the battle wasn't over. Connell's pride was wounded, and wounded pride is dangerous. And deep down, I feared he was already planning his next move. I didn't sleep that night. The kiss under the stars replayed in my mind again and again, filling me with a warmth that scared me. My heart felt light, but my chest carried a heavy knot of guilt. Had I betrayed my vows? Had I moved too fast? Even though Connell had hurt me, I still carried 7 years of promises inside me, like ashes that refused to blow away. By morning, the whole neighborhood already knew what happened. That's the thing about Osogbo, secrets are like smoke, they rise whether you want them to or not. Sandra's neighbor, Momete, stopped me on my way to buy pepper. She shook her head with pity that felt like judgment. "Busy, your husband came here yesterday," she said, her voice low but loaded. "You should go back. A woman's respect is in her husband's house." Her words stung. I forced a smile and walked away, but my knees were weak. At the market, I felt the eyes of women on my back, whispers flying like birds. She left him. She's staying with her friend. Another man visits her at night. Shame coiled around me, hot and heavy. Connell was not quiet either. He had started spreading his own story, painting himself as the victim, me as the ungrateful wife. He told his friends, I gave her everything. She left because of bad friends. At the mosque, he said, my wife is stubborn. She listens to outsiders. He even called my mother in Elisa. When Mama phoned me, her voice carried both anger and worry. Abisola, what is this I am hearing? That you are roaming Osogbo like a stray goat. Go back to your husband before people drag my name in the mud. My throat closed. Mama, he threw me out. He is with another woman. She sighed. All men have their ways. Marriage is endurance. You think my own was easy? Her words pierced me. Endurance. That word women had carried like a chain for generations. I hung up and cried in Sandra's arms. Meanwhile, Connell's life was unraveling. The side chick, Amora, had moved on completely. He still went to her apartment sometimes, banging on the door like a madman. One evening, he met her on the balcony, laughing with her new man. She looked down at Connell with cold eyes. Connell, she said, her voice dripping with scorn, stop embarrassing yourself. You don't own me. You don't even own your wife. Go and fix your dirty house. The laughter that followed from inside the apartment cut him deeper than a knife. For the first time, he felt small, like the big man of Osogbo had been reduced to nothing but noise. Back at Sandra's, Ton had become part of my daily life. He helped carry water, fixed the broken tap, even bought new curtains for the small sitting room. He never asked for anything in return. His presence was quiet, steady. But inside me, a war raged. Some nights I dreamed of Connell, the early Connell, the man who once sang Sunny Ode to me while we walked by a river. I would wake up with tears on my pillow, missing him despite everything. Other nights, I remembered his harsh voice, his gaslighting, the smoke, the humiliation, and my chest hardened with anger. And then there was Ton. His kindness confused me. His patience melted me. Every time our eyes met, I felt something dangerous, hope. One evening, we sat outside again. The sky was heavy with stars. He handed me roasted corn, still steaming. You've been quiet, he said. I smiled faintly. I'm thinking too much. He leaned closer. About him. Yes, I whispered. And about you. He didn't rush me. He just nodded, his hand brushing mine lightly. That small touch sent shivers through me. Take your time, he said softly. But know this, you are not a mistake to me. My eyes burned with tears. For years, I had felt like a mistake to Connell, like everything I did was wrong. Those words healed something small inside me. But peace never lasts long. 2 days later, Connor came again, this time, not alone. He brought 2 of his uncles, old men with grey beards and walking sticks. They knocked so loud at Sandra's gate that half the street came out to watch. Sandra hissed, her hands on her hips. "See this nonsense." I wanted to hide, but Connor's voice boomed. "Busy. Come out here. Your elders are calling you." Sandra grabbed my hand. "Don't go," she warned. But when I heard the old voices calling my name, Abisola, our daughter, come out, my legs betrayed me. I stepped outside, trembling. Connor's eyes lit up with triumph when he saw me. He folded his arms, standing tall. One uncle cleared his throat. "Busy, what is this we are hearing? You left your husband. Do you want to shame us?" I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. The second uncle shook his head. "A woman's pride is endurance. Go back and cook for your husband. Don't let Satan scatter your home." My eyes filled with tears. I wanted to scream that it wasn't Satan, it was Connor. But the weight of tradition pressed on me. Neighbors murmured, eyes burning into my skin. SS then, like thunder, Ton stepped forward. "Excuse me, sirs," he said, his voice respectful but firm. "With all due respect, this is not about pride. This is about her life. She almost died coughing from smoke because of him. He humiliated her, fed another woman in front of her, threw her clothes into the rain. Is that endurance, or slavery?" The crowd gasped. The uncles glared. Connor's face turned dark as night. "You dare speak in family matters," he roared, stepping toward Ton. Ton didn't flinch. "I dare, because she is human before she is wife. And I will not watch her be destroyed in the name of endurance." My heart pounded. Sandra squeezed my hand hard. The crowd buzzed, whispers flying. For the first time, someone had spoken openly against Connor. Connor's eyes met mine, blazing with fury. His voice dropped low, dangerous. "Busy, choose. Now. Me, or this stranger." The air went still. My chest heaved. My lips parted, but the words stuck in my throat. All eyes were on me. My past on one side, my possible future on the other. And in that suspended moment, my whole world tilted, because I knew that whichever word I spoke next would change everything forever. The street had gone quiet. Even the chickens scratching at the roadside paused, as if they too wanted to hear my answer. My throat was dry, my chest pounding like battered drums. Connor's eyes burned into me, daring me to say the wrong thing. Tom stood calm, but I could see his hands clenched at his sides. Sandra squeezed my palm so hard it hurt. "Busy," Connor said again, his voice low but deadly. "Choose. Me, or this stranger." All my life, I had been told that a woman's crown was a marriage. That living was shameful, that staying was noble. I could hear my mother's voice in my head, "Endure. All men have their ways." I could see the neighbor's eyes, waiting to judge me. But then, another memory rose, the night I coughed so hard from smoke that I spat blood into the basin. Connor had barely glanced at me. "You exaggerate," he said. I swallowed hard. My lips trembled. And then, with a voice that surprised even me, I said one word. "No." The crowd gasped. My knees shook, but I stood taller. I turned to Connor, my eyes meeting his for the first time in years without fear. "I will not go back with you." His face twisted as if I had slapped him. His uncles backed in protest. "Abisola, are you mad? Do you want to kill your mother with shame?" But before I could answer, Connor stepped forward, his chest heaving. His finger stabbed the air at me. "So it's this man, ABI. This useless stranger. You are throwing away your marriage for him." Ton moved in front of me, his body like a shield. His voice was steady. She is throwing away chains, not marriage. Respect yourself, Connor. The words lit fire in Connor's eyes. With a roar, he swung his fist at Ton. I screamed. The crowd shouted. But Ton caught the punch midair, his grip iron. He didn't hit back, he just held Connor's wrist, firm, until the rage in him looked like it would spill over. Then he let go. You're weak, Ton said quietly. Not because you lost strength, but because you lost character. The shame of being stopped, the eyes of the whole street on him, made Connor shake with fury. He spat on the ground, his voice breaking. You will regret this, Busy. You will beg me before the end. He turned and stormed off with his uncles, their angry voices fading down the road. But I knew it wasn't over. That night, I couldn't stop shaking. Sandra tried to calm me with tea, but my hands trembled too much to hold the cup. He will come back, I whispered. He will do something worse. Sandra hugged me tight. Then we'll be ready. When she left the room, Tom sat beside me, his presence grounding me. His voice was gentle but firm. Busy, you are stronger than you know. Today you stood up, and the world didn't end. Tomorrow, you will stand taller. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I'm scared, Tom. What if I made a mistake? What if he was right, and I can't survive without him? Tom reached for my hand. His palm was warm, steady. You are already surviving without him. Look at you. Breathing, standing, choosing. That is survival. His words wrapped around me like a blanket. For the first time in years, I felt the weight of my own choices in my hands. And it terrified me. The following week was tense. Connor's shadow loomed everywhere. I heard from neighbors that he had gone to my family in Elisa again, demanding they drag me back. He told anyone who would listen that I had disgraced him, that I had been bewitched by Sandra and her boyfriend. But while his pride made noise, his life continued to crumble. His shop was failing. His side chick was gone. His house was dirty and empty. The very food that once made him sneer was the food he now missed most. And still, he could not bend his pride enough to say the words he needed to, I'm sorry. One night, Sandra traveled for a funeral, leaving me alone with Ton in the compound. The moon was bright, casting silver light on the walls. After dinner, we sat outside, the night air cool against our skin. Ton leaned back, staring at the sky. Do you ever wish for a fresh start? He asked. I hugged my knees. Every day. But it feels impossible. He turned to me then, his eyes searching mine. It's not impossible. It's just scary. But sometimes the scariest things are the ones that set us free. My chest tightened. His words, his presence, his steady kindness, it all broke down the walls I had built. Slowly, without thinking, I leaned against him. He wrapped his arm around me, and we sat like that, the silence thick with unspoken words. Then, under the moonlight, he tilted my face gently toward his. His lips brushed mine, soft, hesitant, full of patience. I kissed him back, my heart racing, my body trembling, not from fear, but from something I had forgotten long ago. Desire. When we pulled apart, I whispered, I don't deserve this. He shook his head. You deserve everything you were denied. But even in that moment of warmth, fear lingered at the edges. Because deep down, I knew Connor wasn't done. His pride was a wound, and wounded men can be dangerous. And as if the universe wanted to remind me, my phone buzzed at that exact moment. A message. From Connor. Enjoy your freedom. I'm coming for it soon. My blood ran cold. The message on my phone glowed like a curse. Enjoy your freedom. I'm coming for it soon. I sat frozen, the words burning into my chest. My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped the phone. Turned, sitting beside me, noticed immediately. "What is it?" he asked. I couldn't speak. I just handed him the phone. His jaw tightened as he read. For a moment, he said nothing, just stared at the screen with eyes dark as storm clouds. Then he placed the phone gently on the table and turned to me. "He's trying to scare you," Tom said, his voice calm but sharp. "But fear is his only weapon now." My throat felt dry. "You don't know Connor. When he says something, he means it. He could do anything." Tom leaned forward, his gaze steady on mine. "Then let him come. This time, he won't find the same busy." I wanted to believe him, but all I felt was the old fear crawling back into my bones. The next day, Connor made good on his threat, not with fists, but with words. He started a campaign in the neighborhood, whispering lies to anyone who would listen. At the mosque, he told elders, Busy has turned prostitute. She left her marriage for a strange man. In the market, he told traders, she is bewitched. Sandra is spoiling her. By evening, rumors had spread like wildfire. When I went to buy pepper, women stared openly, their whispers slicing at my skin. One of them muttered, "Shame. 7 years of marriage wasted." Another hissed, "Small enjoyment with another man, and she forgot her vows." I kept my head down, my hands shaking as I counted change. But inside, anger boiled. Why was it always the woman who carried the shame, while the man's sins were excused? When I returned, Sandra was already pacing, furious. "He's spreading nonsense everywhere. I told you that man is evil." Tond was quiet, watching me. Finally, he said softly, "What do you want to do, Busy? Run or stand?" His question shook me. All my life, I had been running, from shame, from gossip, from Connor's rage. But standing, that was new. That was terrifying. "I don't know if I can," I whispered. "You can," Tom said simply. "And I'll stand beside you." That evening, something unexpected happened. Connor showed up again, this time with my mother. The knock on the gate was sharp, impatient. When Sandra opened it, I saw Mama, her wrapper tied tight, her eyes stern. My heart sank. "Abisola," she said, her voice cutting. "So it is true. You are hiding here like a thief." "Mama, please." She raised her hand. "Shut your mouth. Your husband came to me. He is begging for you. Do you know how many women wish for a man that still wants them after disgrace? And you are here, embarrassing us." My eyes stung with tears. "Mama," he threw me out. Enough." Mama snapped. "You will pack your things and follow him home. This foolishness ends today." I looked at Connor. He stood beside her, his face wearing a mask of false humility. He didn't speak, he just smirked, as if certain I would fold under my mother's pressure. My hands shook. My knees wanted to buckle. But then, Sandra's hand found mine, squeezing tight. And behind me, I felt Tom's presence, solid and calm. I took a deep breath. "Mama, I love you. But I will not go back." The words came out steady, louder than I expected. Mama's eyes widened. "Abisola, do you want to kill me?" Tears rolled down my cheeks. "I would rather kill your shame than kill myself slowly in that house." The silence that followed was heavy. Mama gasped as if I had stabbed her. Connor's smirk twisted into rage. He stepped forward, his voice dropping low. "You will regret this, Busy. You think this stranger will save you? You are mine. Always." Tom moved in front of me, his voice like steel. "She belongs to no one but herself." The tension cracked like thunder. Mama clutched her wrapper, muttering, "God forbid," and stormed out. Connor glared one last time before following her, slamming the gate so hard it rattled. That night, I cried harder than I ever had. Not because of Connor, but because I had stood against my own mother. The guilt was suffocating. But Tom stayed by my side. He didn't speak much, just held my hand, letting me pour out the tears. When I finally calmed, he wiped my face gently. "You chose yourself today," he whispered. "That is not shame. That is strength." His words settled in me like but Connor's pride had been wounded too deeply. And when a proud man is humiliated, he doesn't retreat, he strikes harder. The very next week, he would prove just how far he was willing to go to drag me back. Connor's silence was the most dangerous part. For days after the confrontation with Mama, he didn't come near Sandra's compound. He didn't call. He didn't send messages. The neighbors thought maybe he had given up. Sandra said, "That man has finally learned shame." But my heart knew better. Connor's pride was a wound, and wounds don't heal quietly, they rot until they explode. And explode, he did. It was a Saturday evening. Sandra had gone for a food delivery. Ton and I were sweeping the compound when the sound of heavy footsteps filled the street. I looked up and froze. Connor was walking toward us, flanked by 4 men from the motor park, men everyone in Osogbo knew were his boys. They carried sticks, their faces hard. My broom slipped from my hand. "Busy." Connor's voice thundered. "Come out. Tonight, you are coming back with me." Neighbors gathered quickly, peeking from their doors, whispering. The air was tense, thick like the sky before rain. Tom stepped in front of me immediately, his body straight, his voice calm but strong. "Connor, stop this madness. Don't disgrace yourself further." Connor laughed bitterly. "Disgrace? The disgrace is my wife cooking in another man's house while I am alive. Do you think I will fold my hands?" He pointed at me, his face twisted. "Busy, this is your last chance. Walk out now, or I will drag you out." My knees trembled, but something inside me snapped. For years, I had swallowed shame, smoke, insults. Tonight, I felt a new fire. I stepped forward, my voice shaking but loud enough for the whole street to hear. "I will not go with you, Connor." Gasps rippled through the crowd. His voice shifted uneasily, but Connor's fury only deepened. He charged forward, raising his hand as if to strike me. Before I could even flinch, Ton blocked him, grabbing his wrist midair. "You will not touch her," Ton said, his voice like iron. The motor park boys stepped forward, ready to attack. Neighbors screamed. Children cried. My heart pounded. "Stop this nonsense," an old man shouted from the crowd. It was Baba Alau, the respected elder of the street. He pushed his way forward, leaning on his stick. "Connor, are you mad? To bring thugs to beat your wife? Is this how a man behaves?" But Connor was beyond reason. He spat on the ground. "She is my wife. Nobody will take her from me." Baba Alau raised his stick. "You lost the right to call her wife the day you threw her into the rain. If you lay one hand on her here, we will carry you to the police." The crowd murmured agreement. More voices rose. "Leave her alone. You disgraced her yourself. She owes you nothing." For the first time, Connor looked uncertain. His voice shifted, uncomfortable under the weight of the neighborhood's eyes. He glared at Tom, then at me, his chest rising and falling like a man drowning in his own pride. "This is not over," he hissed. "You will crawl back to me. You will beg." And with that, he turned sharply, backing at his boys. They followed him, muttering, their sticks lowered. The street buzzed with shock and whispers as they disappeared into the night. When the gate finally closed, my legs gave out. I sank to the ground, tears spilling uncontrollably. Ton knelt beside me, holding me tight. "It's over," he whispered. "You're safe now." But deep down, I knew it wasn't truly over. Connor had been humiliated publicly, and humiliation is poison to a man like him. He would not rest until he found a way to reclaim his pride. That night, after Sandra returned and had everything, she locked the doors tight. But inside, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, staring at the stars. And then Ton joined me. He didn't say anything at first, just sat quietly. After a long silence, he reached for my hand. "You are braver than you think," he said softly. I shook my head. I was terrified. He smiled gently. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is standing even while you are afraid. Tonight, you stood." Tears filled my eyes. But what if he comes again? What if he never stops? Ton's grip tightened on my hand. "Then I will never stop protecting you." I turned to look at him. His face was close, his eyes full of sincerity. My heart raced. Slowly, without thinking, I leaned closer. Our lips met again, deeper this time, urgent, full of everything we had held back. When we pulled apart, I rested my forehead against his chest, my breath shaky. "I don't know if I can love again," I whispered. "You don't have to rush," he said. "But I will wait. Because you are worth waiting for." The stars above seemed to burn brighter. For the first time in years, I felt not just alive, but cherished. But little did I know, Connor's defeat tonight was only the beginning. His next move would be darker, more desperate, and it would test every ounce of strength I had left. For 3 weeks, the street was quiet. Too quiet. Connor didn't show his face, and his boys didn't linger near Sandra's compound. Some neighbors whispered that he had finally given up. Others said he was licking his wounds, waiting for the right time to strike. Me, I didn't trust silence. Silence was Connor's sharpest knife. But during that lull, something unexpected blossomed. Every evening, Ton and I sat on Sandra's veranda after chores. We talked about small things, his childhood in Ogbomosho, my dreams of opening a small catering business one day. Sometimes we didn't talk at all. We just sat side by side, watching children chase each other on the dusty street while the sun melted into the horizon. One night, he brought a radio, tuned it to a Yoruba high-life station, and we danced slowly in the dim light. My head rested on his chest, his arms steady around me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a servant or a burden. I felt like a woman, wanted, cherished. But guilt still tugged at me like thorns under my wrapper. "Ton," I whispered one evening, as we sat under the mango tree. "My heart is confused. Part of me still aches for Connor, even after everything." He didn't flinch. He just nodded, his voice soft. "That is normal. Love doesn't vanish overnight. But pain can teach us to love better next time." His patience disarmed me. He never pushed, never demanded. And slowly, I began to lean into him, not just with my body, but with my heart. Then the storm returned. It was a Sunday morning. Sandra and I had just returned from church when we saw the crowd at the end of the street. A police van was parked there, sirens silent, doors wide open. And beside it, Connor, standing tall, his shirt crisp, his smack sharp. My stomach dropped. Before I could react, 2 officers marched towards Sandra's gate. "Are you Abisola Adeyemi?" one asked. My voice shook. "Yes." "You are under arrest for adultery and public disgrace of marriage," the officer said flatly. The words hit me like a slap. Gasps rose from the neighbors. My knees weakened. "What?" Connor stepped forward, smug. "I told you, busy. You can't shame me and walk free. You belong to me, and the law is on my side." Sandra exploded. Law. Which law allows a man to choke his wife with smoke and throw her into the rain? Which law allows him to feed side chicks in public? The officers ignored her. They reached for me. But before they could grab my arm, Tom stepped between us, his voice thunderous. You are arresting the wrong person. If anyone should be in handcuffs, it's him, for harassment, assault, and public threats. The officers hesitated. The crowd murmured. Baba Alau, the respected elder, pushed forward with his stick. This policeman will not carry our daughter like a thief. We all saw what this man did. He threw her out. He brought thugs. He threatened her life. If you want truth, ask the whole street. Voices rose in unison. Neighbors shouted, women clapped in anger, men pointed fingers. The officers, overwhelmed by the uproar, glanced at each other nervously. Sandra, never one to miss a chance, pulled out her phone and waved it. I have videos. Proof of everything. If you dare take her, the whole Osogbo will see the truth by evening. The officers backed down, muttering. Finally, one turned to Connor. Sir, it seems this matter is domestic. Settle it in court. We cannot arrest her without evidence. Connor's face twisted in rage. He stormed toward me, his finger trembling. This is not over, Busy. You think you are strong now because people are shouting. But when they leave, it will be you and me. And you will beg. This time, I didn't cry. I lifted my chin, my voice steady. No, Connor. I will never beg you again. The crowd erupted in cheers. Connor froze, stunned by my defiance. He spat on the ground and stormed off, the police van trailing after him. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because of the fire burning in my chest. I had faced him and won. Tom found me outside, sitting under the stars. He sat beside me, close but not too close. For a long time, we just breathed the night air. Then, gently, he touched my hand. You were fearless today, he said. Tears filled my eyes. I was shaking inside. He smiled softly. Courage is not about not shaking. It's about standing while you shake. I laughed through my tears, leaning into him. His arm wrapped around me, warm and secure. And then, under the vast Osogbo sky, we kissed again, longer this time, deeper, our hearts speaking the words our mouths could not yet say. For the first time in my life, I felt truly free. But freedom always comes with a price. Connor's pride had been broken in front of the whole street. And a broken man with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous of all. I didn't know it then, but his final move would shake everything, and decide once and for all if I would live in fear, or rise in love. The morning of Connor's last move began deceptively calm. The sun rose soft over Osogbo, casting golden light across Sandra's compound. I swept the yard as usual, my wrapper tied tight, my heart strangely peaceful. Ton had gone to buy bread and akara. Sandra was inside preparing orders. For the first time in months, I felt almost normal. But peace has a way of warning you when it won't last. At exactly 9 a.m., the gate banged. Not knocked, banged. My broom slipped from my hand. Sandra rushed out, frowning. Who is that? The gate burst open before she could reach it. Connor. His eyes were wide, bloodshot. His shirt was untucked, sweat soaking through. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. In his hand was a machete. Busy, he roared, his voice cracking with rage. Today, this nonsense ends. If I can't have you, nobody will. My body froze. My ears roared. Sandra screamed. Neighbors began to gather outside, shouting. I stumbled back, my heart hammering. Connor, put it down. But he was past reason. He charged forward, the blade glinting in the sun. At that very moment, Ton's voice thundered behind him. "Stop!" Ton ran in through the gate, bread still in one hand, his eyes blazing. He dropped the food and grabbed a stick from the ground. He stepped between me and Connor, his body a shield. "Connor, if you want her, you have to go through me." Connor sneered, his voice twisted with bitterness. "You, a stranger. You think you can take my wife, my pride, my life?" He swung the machete wildly. The clash was chaos. Ton blocked with the stick, neighbors screamed, children cried. My whole body shook, but I couldn't look away. It was as if my entire life had come down to this one violent storm. Finally, Baba Allah's voice pierced the air. "Police. Police are coming." Blue uniforms burst into the compound. The officers rushed Connor, tackling him to the ground. The machete clattered across the dirt. Connor struggled, spitting curses, his face twisted with humiliation. "You can't take her from me," he screamed as they cuffed his hands. "She is mine. She'll crawl back." I stepped forward, tears burning down my cheeks, my voice shaking but clear. "I will never crawl back to you, Connor. Not now, not ever." The crowd cheered. Sandra sobbed with relief. Tom stood beside me, his chest rising and falling, sweat glistening on his skin. The police dragged Connor out of the compound, his curses fading down the street. The neighbors clapped me on the back, women whispered prayers, men shook their heads. It was over. Truly over. That night, the air felt different. Lighter. Free. Sandra cooked jollof rice, and we ate together, laughing through tears. For the first time, food tasted sweet without smoke. Later, when the compound grew quiet, I stepped outside under the stars. Tom joined me. He didn't speak at first, just held my hand. My heart was still raw, but it was also ready. I turned to him, my voice trembling but sure. "I've been scared to love again. But you've shown me that love isn't chains. It's freedom. It's kindness." His eyes softened. "And you've shown me that strength isn't loud. It's steady. It's choosing yourself even when it hurts." The tears came again, but this time they were healing tears. And then, under the same stars where our first kiss had happened, I leaned into him. He wrapped his arms around me, holding me as if the world had finally made sense. Our lips met, slow, tender, full of promise. For the first time in my life, I felt not just like a wife, not just like a survivor, but like a woman reborn. As Connor sat in a cell, broken by his pride, I sat under the stars, wrapped in new love, free at last. And though my scars would remain, they no longer define me. Because I had chosen myself. Because I had found freedom. Because I had finally learned that real love does not choke.